Hey campers, Georgia, back in the man cave. Gonna need your help on this one. See this? Victorinox. See this? Victorinox. I suspect one of them's not real. Let's check it out. So what I'm talking about here is I have these two Victorinoxes, allegedly. This one I got from a friend at work, Big Mike. Worked with him for a long time, and he knows I'm a knife guy. He subscribes to the channel. He watches my videos. Every year I bring a box of knives to the office, put it on the table, and tell the guys, help yourself. And they go through them and they'll choose knives. They're typically single blade working knives is what they are. Knives that I've reviewed over the years and that sort of thing. And I thought, it's time to get them out of the way so I can get new stuff because I'm running out of room. And I do that every year and they're all excited. But it just so happened I dropped it off yesterday when I was at work. And Mike came in for the night shift and he said, there you are. He hadn't seen me for a while, and he said, hold on. And he ran down to his toolbox and said, I've had this in my toolbox for a week or two now, hoping to bump into you. Here it is. And it's this guy. Look at this guy. Now, he said it's rusty, it's beat up, it's been lying in somewhere in his garage or something like that. And he said he got it he thought in about 93. And you can see it's one of them big guys. And he said, I was young. I did stupid things like paint, put paint on it. And he said, I didn't look after it. But he said, I know you like them. And I'm not sure you have one of these. But here, you can restore it and you'll have yourself one. Great. This is a Victorinox. It's the real thing. When you open the blade, you can see. Very cool. It's got the information on both sides there. We'll get more into the history of it and how old it is and all that good stuff. But this is the McCoy. This is a real SAK, a real Victorinox Swiss Army knife. Then I was at the mall and I saw this guy and thought, wow, that's unusual. A single blade Victorinox. Look at it. It's even it's very faded. I don't know if you can see it there, but it had the symbol and everything on. But it had pins in the handles. I thought that's odd. And it's a single blade. So I thought I need to look at it. The lady opened the box for me. I got it out and I opened the knife just like this and looked at the tang stamp. Look at that. Victorinox. You see that? It says Victorinox, Switzerland, stainless, rust-free, whatever that is. Great. So Victorinox, that's unusual. And I was like, okay, I'll take this one. And there you go. Then I got in my car to got back into the banger and I was getting ready to go. And I looked at it again. When I looked at it, I just looked there. See that? Victorinox. Very cool. Then I noticed, the blade was chipped. But wait a minute. Look at the shape of the blade. Wow, that's unusual. They use a spear point blade. That's not a spear point blade. Then I turned it over and looked at the back of it. Look at that. Now, right off, the first thing I noticed, besides the shape and all that, there's no ricasso. The whole blade is flat at the back. You see that? No. I really don't think this is a Victorinox. Well, a real one anyway. And it's kind of messed up. The blade's broken here. Blade shape is wrong. The handle doesn't look right. It's single blade. And I went onto the Victorinox website and I was like, oh wait, look at that. They've just come out with single blade knives, a new series. If you haven't seen him, I want to check it out. If you like me, I'm a single blade guy. I really like that idea. Good working knives. This, I think I got gypped on this one. Whose fault? Not mine. Or is it? Well, I have to say it is my fault. There was nothing on the tag or anything that said it was a Victorinox or anything like that. I just assumed it because I saw the badge, the red handles and everything. Looked to see what the tank stamp said and was all excited and said, a single blade Victorinox. Not so much. Or is it? Am I assuming too much here? Did they make them like this before? Did they have this? I don't know. I don't think so. Pretty sure it's fake. But you know what? I have two kind of sort of Victorinoxes. This one needs some work. Very rusty. I did oil all the bolster edges because I could barely pull the blades out. And they've loosened up a lot. I want to take the scales off. I want to get the paint off. He said that the original scales were black. I want to see if I can get them back to black, shine them up and see what happens. And you know what? I've got this. I'm going to restore this. I'm going to try and make this into a spear point so it looks a little bit more and call it a halfie. I don't know. You got to tell me if this is real or not. I got to fix it because that blade's just terrible. So I'm going to bring it up and make it into a spear point, clean it up, see if I can shine this up some more and just get it cleaned up. And hey, it'll be a fun project. So let's have at it. Okay, this guy. I'm going to start on him first because he's going to need a lot more work. This guy is going to be really quick and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it until I know it's real. Then maybe we'll work a little bit more on it. But I'm going to shape the blade and clean it up. This guy, however, is a little rusty. In the wells, there's rust. The aluminum's getting a little flaky and that sort of thing. So I got to clean it up and I want it nice and shiny. I got to make it nice and shiny. Victorinox is known for their sharp and shiny stuff. So we got to get it all cleaned up, which means I have to take the scales off and get the paint off and try and shine them up and do as good a job as I can. If I'm not happy with it, I'll see if I can get some scales for it. This is unusual. This is a Champ. I do know that. And boy, I spent hours down the rabbit hole trying to find out which one, when, and why. Well, to cut a long story short, this is what I finally found out. In 1992, Victorinox added the hook, the multi-purpose, the parcel carrier, whatever you want to call it. The problem I had, I was looking for this. It has the magnifying glass, and I'll show you all, you'll see all the stuff that it has on it. Well, I couldn't find one that had the magnifying glass, the scissors, yada, 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 but no hook. They all had the hook on. And that's when I found out after digging really deep that in 1992, they added the hook. So this is pre-92. Mike's older than he thought he was. Anyway, that's what I found out. Another thing I found out is that the hook is always on the same spring as the scissors. So that's how you can find it, because I looked and looked and looked and looked again and couldn't find the hook. What I'm going to do is open it up right now so you can see all the tools on it. Okay, you ready? Count them. Of them. Look at this. Look at that. One busy little bee. Now, as you can see, we have a bunch of tools here. And they have things like a fish scaler, a ruler, the pen blade, the full long file, the bottle opener, the wire stripper, the flat screwdriver, the magnifying glass, pliers, scissors, saw, flat screwdriver, a can opener, bottle opener, flat screwdriver, smaller, the big blade. It has an awl, small, I think that this is a nail cleaner. I'm not sure. And then you have this here, what I'm not sure it is, and behind it, I'll move it out of it. I've got to close one down here. You can see it has the corkscrew. No hook. Now, I'm going to put them all away because it took me an hour to get them all out. The main issue is this. On the pliers, they work okay, just fine, except the spring is broken. Now, I'm pretty sure I can find a spare spring for it. Not worried about that. So there's that issue with the scissors, never mind the scales or anything. It has 3 tools in here. It has the tweezers. It has another slot here for the toothpick, which is missing. And then it has this in it, the pen. Now this pen's a little beat up. You can see it's beat up and bent. We can clean it up and it goes in there, but it's not a smooth go in. And then of course the scales and getting rid of all the stuff. So there you have it there. Woke up this morning and realized just how much you guys that watch my videos, just how big your knowledge base is. Right away, everybody said, nope, it's a real one. This is a real McCoy Victorinox. It's from the Flora series. Good to know. Everybody came back and said, no, don't be doing anything silly with it. So glad to hear that. And once again, you guys came through. So we can restore it, make it all pretty. Just not sure I can save the badge, the info. So, good deal. Thank you again. Once again, you guys came through with the big guy. And yep, I've started taking the paint off. I had to be careful. I didn't want to scratch it too much when doing that. I basically used my nail and this odd guy just to scrape backwards on it like this. I didn't want to go forwards because it is sharp. I didn't want to dig into it. And I've got most of it off, and you can see it is the black. Kind of like the idea of leaving it black if I can. I would like to keep the original scales and maybe, do something with the badge to bring it out. So if it cleans up good enough, we'll keep it that way. Always want to try and be original. So back at this, got to dip it in some warm water, well, fairly hot water, pop the scales off, dip it in some, get rid of the rust stuff, start cleaning it up, getting these nice and shiny. Let's have at it. Okay, so I ran it in some really hot tap water, put it in here. Now we've got to get the scales off. The best way I've found is, another Victorinox. Look at this guy. I forgot I even had this guy. This is the new fancy version and was sent to me by some subscribers who even put 2CG on it. I like to use the can opener, the actual little flat screwdriver here. It's small enough and thin enough to get under the scales here and lift them really slowly. You want to heat them up because it makes them a little softer, and the way they clip on, if you don't do that, sometimes you damage those clips. Just like that. And pop it up slowly. Work your way down. And they pop off. Now, This one, you can see what happens here. It kind of pulls the caps off. Is it a big deal? Well, you don't want to do that. You want to avoid it as much as possible. Sometimes you just can't. When they're older and things like that, you're going to have these issues. Now, this will probably snap back on, but I like to just put a touch of glue just to help it a little bit. And you can see here how they have those little caps on there that hold them on. It's like that. You can see it there. Little clips on it. And we're going to put it in some Rust-Hello in there and let it soak a little bit and then clean it up. So I opened it up here and you know, there's a little bit of stuff going on in there. It's not too bad. Just want to give it a quick soak. Longer than I thought it was. I'm going to put the nasty on it. We're going to let that soak a little bit. And let's see what we can do with these things. Now, they're pretty scratched up, which is probably why Mike, when he was younger, thought, oh, I want to clean that up, and he painted it. But I'm going to see if I can at least get the majority off and give it a little bit of a shine. First of all, we've got to get all the paint off. So I'm using this, and what I do is I drag backwards with it because it's kind of sharp here and I don't want it to dig in and make a gouge in there. So I'm just lightly rubbing on the paint. It comes off fairly easy here. The boss is in to inspect again. What are you doing now? Huh? I'm cleaning these. What do you think? Huh? They pass inspection? I'm being safe. All right. Cool. Okay, we got just about all of the paint off. There's a couple of spots, but I'm hoping that when we get to polishing this, they'll disappear. Interesting, if you look at this one, look at the discoloration here on the handle. Not sure what causes that. And it's pretty scratched up. But you know what? We got to try and see how good we can get them, because why? That's what we do. So, 1000 grit. Going to use this. Start off with this and see if we can start to polish it. If that works, we'll keep going. Don't want to take too much off around the badge, the symbol here. And hopefully they'll clean up. See, here we are with 1000 grit. It looks okay, but it's dull. So, I'm wondering. Well, let's try some polish. I'm a little nervous about this. It might overheat. It's shinier, but it's not consistent. Looks like I'm going to have to do it by hand because my wheels are not wide enough. And a little nervous about overheating. So let's try it by hand. Well, that got a lot better. It's a lot shinier. Look at that, more consistent. Never going to get rid of all them scratches, though. If you look carefully, you can see them all. But generally, a much better shine. Here you can see them there. So I think a little bit of elbow grease will take care of it. That's a little better than it looked, right? See if we can bring that badge out. This guy still has rust on him, so let me find something to rub it with. Okay, now I'm going to take it upstairs and wash it off in warm water, get all the nastiness off, and then let's see what we need to do. So it looks a little cleaner, right? That's one thing about these knives, is they do shine very well. So we got all the dirt and grime off it. Now, I'm wondering if we even need to polish these. I'd like to at least polish the blades and make them look clean. So, let me bring in closer here. You can see I polished up the blade. It looks a little better, but there's some deep scratches on it. You know, it is a used knife, so don't want to remove all that metal. But I'm going to put it all together and let's give it a polish. That blade's good, so let's have a look at this guy. Yeah, can give him a little bit of a polish. So nice and shiny. They have a natural shine. These these knives shine no matter what you do. You can literally rub them with a cloth and they'll shine up. They really are well made. Okay, so now we got to deal with this guy, and I'm so glad you guys answered my questions on that thrifting run I did, because I was just convinced this guy was not a real Victorinox. But it is, like I showed you, it's a gardening knife, which makes sense, and it has that, not sure what you'd call it, the chisel cut on it. One side is no ricasso and the other side it is. So it's flat. It's flat on this side and the grind is that side. So pretty cool, except, yeah, we got a tip issue there. You see that? So I want to keep it that way, which means that the blade is going to be a little bit shorter, because I'm going to come right from I'm going to clean it up right from this edge here and bring it around in that same angle or curve, and it's just going to be a little shorter, but it'll still look the same. So we need to take that off and bring it down to that point there. So let's do that now. So here I have it in the vise, and I thought about using the Dremel to get rid of all this amount that I want to get out, which is quite a lot. But my concern was overheating the blade. I don't want to do that, so I'm going to do this by hand. Oh, and this is hard. Worked out pretty good. Cleaned it up nicely. The point works. Doesn't look too bad. See what it looks like in the knife. You can see it looks shorter in the knife, but we kept the shape. So, very cool. A little bit more cleanup and polish on the blade. Got to clean this up now. So that's after the 1000. Looks a bit cleaner. We're starting to lose the badge there, but I don't think there's much we can do about that. But we got the Victorinox right there, so need to prove it. It's right there. So there you are, campers. There's the little guy. Your, what would you call it, a gardening knife, pruning knife, single blade. Very cool. I'm really glad that this turned out to be a true Victorinox. Was kind of worried about that. To be honest, never even thought about looking at the different series that they do. I was so focused on SAKs, you know, the Swiss Army knife or combo units. Didn't even think about this. So different. The handle, you know, you've got your pins. It actually cleaned up nice. I like the way the blade turned out better than I thought it would be. Need to clean it. Well, it's a little better. Not perfect, but it's sharp now. So there you go. Our little gardening Victorinox. Very nice. And here's the info on it. So, and if you're wondering, here is the big guy, the Champ. He really cleaned up a lot better than I thought it would. I had this in my accessories box that I have. So I just put it on. It was black. It suited it. And here you can see we brought the badge out. It was a little scratched up and you can see perfect, but it certainly brings it out. So nice and shiny. You got all your working parts are nice and shiny. This turned out very nice. And like I said, you know, these SAKs, the metal that they use is that inox. It stays shiny and it stays sharp. So you can see the blades there. Very little. All the work was on these guys. And even they shined up. You can see that. I mean, they got scratches and things in, but they're nice and shiny again. Very cool. I had the parts for it. Not perfect, not the colors I wanted. I would really like to have had black for like the toothpick and the tweezers, which I thought would have been really cool. Here you can see I have the toothpick, a spare one I had. This here is the pen, which I suppose I should show you. I straightened it out. Does it write? Yep, it writes. It's not perfect. It's probably been in there a while. You can see there. And I did not know this about the pen. They are actually pressurized. So you don't have to, you know, there's constant pressure in there pushing the ink out. So, you know, once it runs out, you got to replace the whole thing. But, you know, the way they do it is they pressurize the ink in there so you get a consistent. Doesn't run out until it's empty. Still a little dinged up and whatever, but it's straighter than what it is, and it slides in there nice and easy now. I couldn't get it out before, and you can see here it goes in there nice and easy. And then, of course, on the other side, on its lonesome, you got your tweezers, fully loaded. Would I like to do a review of one of these things? It would take me 6 hours to do a review. There's just so many tools on it. You can see it's all layered. And of course, it does have the magnifier there. You can see. But like I said, that did vary depending on how old the knife is. And the info on this guy is this. And that's based on the fact that there is no hook on it, which only came out after 92. And if you're not sure, you can always find your hook on the same spring as your scissors. And I have a spring, but I'm going to order some parts and I'll replace the spring. It still works, no problem. So I'm not too worried about that for now. Very cool. So there you go. 2 Victorinoxes. I love these knives, and I can see that why people collect them. I don't. This was given to me. Most of them were given to me. I found a couple in thrift stores that I've fixed up. I honestly, my budget can't handle these knives. Anyone I come across and able to fix it up and clean it up and make it mine is awesome, because they are awesome knives. Your 2 Vics, cleaned, can join their buddies now. Would like to make a sheath for this. I'm going to have to work on that. I have some ideas. It's big, it's heavy. I don't want this in my pocket. It deserves a sheath. You all be safe out there, especially when you're working with these guys. Once you get an edge on these things, they last quite a long time. So be safe with these things. All sorts of snippy, snappy things on there. And don't forget, like, share, subscribe. You know the story. Pretty sure I'll be back looking at Opinel again. I have, the last Opinel major mod I did was this guy. And I kind of like this little tadpole, toenail, elephant toe, whatever you want to call them, look. I like. This one had a spay blade that I put on it. And I'm thinking of doing a series of these with the different blades. So that could be fun, and maybe try and improve on the sheath. Thanks for watching. Always appreciate it. See you again.